An Indian walking the streets of downtown Dublin will hear all manner of sounds. Snatches of conversation in English or Gaelic, the bars of an Irish folk song wafting out from a pub, traffic, laughter. But there are some sounds you might hear which will take him by surprise. These young boys reciting the Gayatri Mantra, the holiest of hymns from the Rig Veda, are students of the Sanskrit School in Dublin, where Sanskrit is an integral part of the syllabus. Surprisingly, these students are not alone. This is not just an Irish eccentricity. Across the Irish Sea in London, a similar effort is being made to teach Sanskrit at the St. James School. One cannot help wondering why these schools in the British Isles would attempt to teach their pupils a language that could be, well, Greek or Latin to them.
One of the first principles of the school is that you only feed the children the finest food that's available, whether that's music, language, or the food that they eat. And through our studies, we came across the miracle of Sanskrit, which has a beautiful, perfect system of grammar. And the concepts contained in the vocabulary and in the literature are universal concepts. So if you feed that to the mind of the child at 4.5, then the absorption of all language starts from that point. As a child grows older, they're introduced to the great scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Srimad. So not only do you have the beauty of the language, you then take on the beauty of the scriptures. So we think it's rather strange if you don't study Sanskrit.
The party, yes?
Ancient Indian grammarians would have been proud of these hard-working scholars, learning the rhythms, sounds, syntax and grammar of a civilization so distant from their own.
Can you pronounce that really precisely?
Even in India, Sanskrit is not really looked upon as a living language after all.
Well, we would never consider it as dead, in that it contains universal truths which need to be spoken. We didn't actually steal it from your country, but we feel honoured to have it available. And yes, we cannot fully understand why it's still not alive and thriving in India.
The learning of Sanskrit for these students goes beyond the learning of just a language. These pupils look upon Sanskrit not as a mere language, but the fount of all the culture, of Sanskrit.
I think it's going to be the cause of a renaissance in Western Europe, because everything has become very materialistic. In the last renaissance, Greek arrived. It had been forgotten, it arrived, and brought the thoughts of Plato and gave rise to a renaissance. Now, 500 years later, something is needed, some magic. And it is often the merging of two cultures that takes place, and I believe it will be the merging of the Eastern culture and the West that will give rise to the Renaissance.
Brian, the Tolly family, and where is the town for this family? Thank you. Thank you, Michael.
In their attempt to discover deeper insights and truths in Sanskrit, the pupils struggle manfully with alien alphabets and go beyond to the numbers game, attempting to learn Vedic mathematics.
2025. That's magic.
Now, what is the advantage of doing mathematics in this Vedic way?
You could just answer the question by looking at the numbers, and you just write on the answer without any further complications. And
why has this then gone out of fashion?
because it was forgotten. Many, many years ago, this was known in the Indian scriptures, and that's thousands of years ago, and now, only now, it's been rediscovered.
Once upon a time there was a man, Nara Shambhu Nama. The man's name was Shambhu.
One leaves these schools with a nice feeling in the 50th year of our independence. Sanskrit may not be at a premium in India, but here in the British Isles, an effort is being made to preserve India's ancient treasure.
Rama Sadhu Asti. Rama is good.